Hi, good morning and welcome to Dusty Gypsy Studio. I'm Tammy Jade and today we're just diving straight in with a little market prep. I've got the bags are all packed in the car and we're heading to a brand new little market. It's at Moore Park Beach and it's a little indoor market. We all love indoor markets because we don't have to carry the big tent around. Don't have to carry all the weights because it gets very, very windy here. So we always have to have those. So yeah, I'm going to take you on for a little ride along with me. I have no idea how this is going to go. I'm not super confident talking to the camera just in my own little studio yet. So talking on the camera outside, maybe in front of people, that's going to be a whole other thing. So if you do see that I have decided that I don't want to talk on camera, I'll do a voiceover later because I figured out how to edit that in last time I did this. So yeah. I'm going to take you along today and hopefully it's a bit of fun. As you can see, I've got all my stuff packed in there. Hopefully I've got everything. If not, it's all good. We'll do the day without it. See you when we get there. Hi. So today I thought I might do something a little bit different, and this month's colouring page is actually going to be a colouring page that if you want to you can create a book cover out of it. So it's just a normal pamphlet stitch book cover, and I thought I might, for something different, show you how to create that. So if you like that page and you'd like to purchase it, it's going to be on my website. It comes with its free bookmarks this month. And yeah, so what I like to start off with, of course, is the printable. And you can print that on normal printer paper, or you can print it on watercolor paper, or whatever you want to actually use. And then from there, of course, color it in, have some fun with it, make your own art. Just use it as a template to make your own thing. So of course I have already printed mine out. So this is the artwork that I actually did. So this is the artwork that the line drawing is actually made from. So I printed on one side, of course, and then just folded it in half. So that's where I'm going to start off with. And then, so what I've done then is, you can get any kind of paper from anywhere, plain paper, whatever. So what I've done is I've used the settings on my actual printer and just printed out some stationery lined paper. So there's only 10 pages here. You can do as many pages as you like, but you need to remember that the chunkier you make it, the harder it's going to be to punch some holes in here. And the more you're going to have to trim off the front, because of course when you fold it, it's going to have a bit on the front here that you're going to have to trim off. So I decided to do a little lined book today. So it's just a little pamphlet book. So it'll fit in there like that, and that'll be the book, and it'll have some beautiful stitching down the side. So of course the thing that I have, of course, is my bone folder, and that's what I use to actually press down the edges instead of my fingers. So your fingers have a lot of oil on them, and sometimes that can dirty up your spines, and you don't really want that. Now you can use a ruler, just a clean ruler, lay it down flat and go up and down. Same with this. If you're only using 10 pages, you can just fold it over and then press it down. Any more than that, and this fold will be too chunky. So anyway, I'll flip yours around and I'll show you what I'm going to do next. Okay, so as you can see, I've got my printable that I've printed out, and then I folded it over, and then I've given it a bit of a press up and down. And then I've gotten my 10 pages, and the same thing, I've folded it over and given it a press up and down. And then I'm just going to slide those together. Now I like to do this from the inside. And we need 5 holes. So generally I like to put I start from the edge about, say, a centimetre or 2 in, centimetre and a half in. So we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And be very careful. So I have, of course, a hole punch, but if you are the kind of person who likes to make chicken skewers and you have some steel skewers around, then you can use one of those. It's easy enough. So go all the way through, and I'll show it from here. So I like to have one in the middle. There we go. And then I go in the middle of all that. Alright, so if you can see that there, I've got all of those 5 holes there. So this is where you just check from the inside, outside, yes. So I have wax thread, but of course you can have some fun with this. You don't have to use wax thread. All of this is your creation, you know. This is something that you can use in your day-to-day life. And you can use whatever you want. If you have some wool hanging around and you think it's strong enough, or you have some normal thread or some rope or whatever, as long as you can actually use it and get it through the holes, then totally acceptable. So you just need enough. So you've got to remember it's got to go in and out. So normally I go up and down twice. So I measure it, and then I like to just do a little bit extra because we're going to be going in and out, in and out. There we go. And then I like to store my needles. So I have a curved needle here just because this is the one I found. I use the curved needles usually on my watercolor sketchbooks because I'm usually using a lot of very thick paper, and the curved needle makes it a little bit easier for me to grab. So for this one, I'll just get rid of this here. All right. So now I just need to thread this. So if you get your thread and you pull it through a little and you want to tie this off, with this wax thread I can actually just pierce back through near the top here, and that just anchors that down like that. And now that's stuck on there. So if you do decide to double this up and tie it on the end, so when you pull it through, that's totally fine as well. You're just gonna go through a lot more of this stuff, that's all. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to flip it so it's around the right way, and then I go in from the inside because that's where I like to tie everything off, and I go to the outside, and I make sure I leave a little tail here. Hole in this one, and this is the 5-hole pamphlet stitch. We start on the inside because that's where we're going to do our tie off. We want to do that, so we leave a little tail here, and all you got to think of is figure eights. So you go into your next hole all the way through, and then you go into your next hole, and that's the end hole, and flick that all the way through. There we go, and make sure that's tight as you go. Alright, and then you need to go back through this second last hole because you need to head back over to your other side. So make sure that's a little bit tight and a little bit out of the way, and put that through there. Alright, and you need to just leave this one here, miss the middle one, and then go to the second last at the other side. Oh, and of course I can't get it through the hole. There we go. Alright, so we're in that hole there, second last from the other side, and we're going to figure eight again. So see how that's just crossed over there? Alright, make sure it's nice and tight. Give it a little tug. Not too hard or you'll rip all your paper. And then go to the last hole. Throw that in there. And then back in that hole that you were in earlier. Okay, so now, let's see how we've got this little pattern on the back? We go back into the middle hole. Now when I do this, I like to make sure that my thread that I started with and my middle thread are on one side of the needle coming back through, and then that way when I tie it off, I'm actually tying that middle strand into the knot. So what we do is we make sure all of that is nice and tight, and then we tie, hey look, seriously, just do a granny knot and then another granny knot. So up, over and under, over and under, and then cut that off there, and you have a little self-binding done. And look how cute that looks on the outside here. Even if you stuff up where you go in these holes, it's no big deal. As long as you're sewing them together so that all of these pages don't fall out, then that's a win. You can always do it super perfect next time. So yeah, just start doing it and have a bit of fun. So I like this. This will be my little book I can take with me for writing down little notes during the day, because I'm horrible at remembering all the things that I have to remember in one day. There we go. So as you can see like I have a bit of an edge here. So how you get rid of that edge, if you want to, is you get yourself a nice sturdy ruler, preferably a steel one, okay? And then be very careful with this thing. This bad boy is sharp. So the thing you gotta remember is you have to press down on the spine here so that all the pages are gonna sit flat over here. So if you're just doing this at home, do yourself a favor and grab a big book or something like that. Bye. Have a good day. And I have this pre-wrapped pretty brick. It's a brick, and I put that there. Alright, so that's just going to press that down. Now I line the edge of my cover up, and you can see I've got all this extra, hang on, where are we? All this extra here. Now don't go in thinking the harder you push on this thing, the better it'll be. It's actually the other way around. The more you just do this gradually and let the blade do the work, the better this will be. And you just want to hold it straight up and down. Make sure you're lined up against the blade. Hold your ruler steady and just bring it through. And if you do this nice and steady, you'll be straight up and down. After a little while, this will just follow the same track and you won't have to worry too much. The biggest thing is making sure that ruler stays. And of course, once you get through the cover, if you've done the cover in a thicker paper, you'll end up with the pages underneath. And the pages underneath, if you've done that in a lighter gauge paper, which you should have, or it's going to be really hard to make. Yeah. And then just pull those away. Alright. And sometimes you have little bits that are going to be nice and stubborn. So I probably need to snap the end off my blade and get a new bit because I've used this for so many projects. Oh no, there we go. And the more you do little crafty things like this, the easier it'll get too. And you know, if it's just for you at the moment, be proud of it. Have fun with it. You made your own notebook. And this is the first time I've ever done a how-to video. So, you know, be kind. If you like the project, then that's cool. I'll do more. And you've got to remember, I do this on a really large scale too. So I just crack out my great big guillotine. And so it's been a long time since I've actually used this thing in this capacity. And there we go. Get that big book out of the way. And now we have a nice edge on our little book. So this is the little book you can make out of the colouring page from this week if you want to. Now any age can do this, any age can give this a go. You don't have to finish off the edges, you don't have to make it super pretty, or you can make it really pretty. So I'm sure the scrapbooker girls would have all of the things, junk journal girls, all of the things, make it pretty as you want. But my idea is, you know, if you're into colouring and you want to do something different and actually use your pages for something, then this might be a great little arty thing that you can do. And, you know, you can mix your art and your craft. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed that, and hopefully I'll come up with an idea for another one. The line drawing will be available on the 25th of this month. It's going to be May. So look for the line drawing if you really like this design. All of my line drawings and stuff come with a free printable as well. So you get the one that you purchased and whatever little free one I have going with that one at the time. Yeah. So let me know if you really liked it and you want me to do something else.